If my memory served me correctly, I was getting ready to leave Florida.
Do it for the love of the game. I'm your host, AJ Guyton. Our guest is an unsung legend who took the long road from Carbondale, Illinois, all the way to SEC basketball at the University of Florida. Under legendary coach Lon Kruger, he became a leader, a scorer, and a problem for all defenses, leading Florida to its first ever Final Four. This isn't just a college basketball story, it's a story about toughness, patience, and understanding that your journey doesn't have to look like anyone else's. You're going to hear from a legend who led the Carbondale Terriers as one of the most dominant players in school history, averaging an incredible 27.5 points, 7.5 rebounds as a senior, showcasing scoring ability and all-around leadership and impact. He earned all-state honors for his senior season performance, led the Terriers to the IHSA state quarterfinals, decided to attend the UFF, University of Florida, two-time first-team All-SEC 94-95, two-time honorable mention All-American 94-95, named to the NCAA tournament All-East Regional Team in 1994. 1,451 points at Florida, ranking among the top scorers at the time of his departure. Career assists 367, top four at the time. Three-pointers 232, second all-time. Games played 128, second all-time at the time of his departure. Steals leader, UF all-time 198 upon completing his career. Across his 4 seasons at Florida, 15.7 points per game in 94, and 18 points per game in 95. University of Florida Athletic Hall of Fame inductee in 2006, named an SEC basketball legend, one of the most decorated players in UF history. This is the Shooter's Corner podcast featuring Carbondale and University of Florida legend Dan Cross. How are you doing, my brother?
Man, after that highlight right there, you just said I'm doing great now.
It's time to feel like you got to go back to the gym when you hear all that. Let's do this one. Let's do it again, man. You
Yeah.
deserve it, man. And we here at the podcast, man. I started this to honor my unsung heroes. We often hear about the awesome stories of the great Kevin Garnett's and the legends who just physically dominant and basketball was a major goal of theirs, but our goal is to highlight the people who have done well at the high school level, college level, and also continue on with foundations to continue to give back to the game. So I salute you in giving back to the game of basketball then and now. So thank you for
Brother.
joining me, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate the flowers.
So here we get deep. I want to learn how Dan Cross became Dan Cross. So we start here. From what I understand, born in Chicago but grew up in Carbondale, correct?
Yes, correct.
How'd you get from Chicago to Carbondale, and what was life like growing up early in the Cross family?
Well, your first question, so my folks, my mom and my dad
Mhm.
grew up in Chicago. Actually, all of my family is from Chicago. My dad decided to go to SIU while my mom went to Northern Illinois. They ended up having me early, and as coming out of Chicago, you're trying to escape to trying to find somewhere else, especially when we coming from the South Side and the West Side. So,
Mhm.
shout out to 79th and Princeton and West Chatham and the West Side. But Dad was just trying to make a better life for us, and he knew that Chicago, and where the neighborhoods that we were coming from, it wasn't gonna be the solution. So, SIU provided him the opportunity to go to school, and that's where I spent basically my school days, my childhood days, and then my summers were always spent back in Chicago and any holiday. And that just kind of kept me a balance. And I called both home just because I was raised in both places and having childhood
Absolutely.
places. Yeah. So, growing up, that's, basically how I'm the oldest of 5, 4 boys and a girl. That's how we grew up is, our childhood, pertaining to our education was spent in Carbondale, but a lot of our time was, spent because as I don't know if you come from a big family, but being the oldest of 5, somebody had to go be kept, and I was the oldest that had to get on the train and get on 57. What my grandparents were keeping me a lot, and while my parents raised, 4 other kids. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I was the experiment when it came to that, brother.
A lot of babysitting early. Your parents are the foundation, and I like to try to discover how athletes became who they became, and it comes from your parents. So talk about the personality traits of each of your parents and how it helps you become the person and the competitor that you became. Really looking for which personality trait did you take from each parent?
Man, it's a blended bloodline in this
Hmm.
case. The athleticism and just the skill sets that come from my dad. So my dad went to Leo.
Okay. Shout out Chicago,
So
Leo.
dad went to Leo, which is, right down the street from 79th in the Inglewood area.
Hmm.
So I possessed that mentality, from him. He grew up in a lot of time early on. He grew up in Caprini Greens. So if anybody knows
Oh.
about Caprini Greens, when it was a Caprini Greens, that mentality alone, if you're able to get out, you survived already. So that was handed down. That mentality was handed down, for me from an athleticism, from a
Hmm.
competitive, just from there's a certain street mentality that you got to be able to carry, but you got to be able to pivot and change and be a chameleon, depending on what neighborhood you're coming from. So I was able to adjust in that area. And then from my mom's side, just more, there's a lot of stubbornness that come from her. I don't take no for an answer. I'm a go get what I need to get till I got it. So a lot of that comes from her. And both my mom and dad are both, at the end of the day, they hustle in their own rights. Being able to raise 5 kids, that's not easy. None of us have been to jail, for the most part. So we were able to escape. In our culture, the statistics is at least 1 out of the 5.
Yep.
So that mentality, man, I possess. There's a heart behind that as well, that comes out every once in a while. And I get some of that kindness from my mom and my
Hmm.
dad. Cold side to me as well that I'm
Yeah.
happy to possess, and I also get that from my mom and my dad. So
Absolutely.
it's a mixture of ingredients, man, that has allowed me to continue to grow as a man, as a black man. On top of that, trying to
Absolutely.
survive in this jungle that we live in.
4 brothers and sisters. You're the oldest. What are the advantages of growing up with multiple brothers and sisters?
It's a competitive household.
Yeah.
At the ultimate level, I mean, anything that we can compete in, the house is competing. Was led, that is fights, is we racing for soda pop.
Hey, all right.
Yeah,
Everything's
anything,
competition.
yeah, anything that we can think of. If we who can make the best paper airplane,
Right.
yeah, just to, we get on the courts and we're able to compete, soccer field, baseball, whatever you name. As long as it was a ball, we found a way to compete. And it was healthy for the most part. But my dad made sure, that, outside of the home, he took care of what competition should look like. And inside of the home, mom did her best to make sure that there was love outside of the competition, to where, for me, love and basketball kind of ended up being, my love story at the end of the day. So
Absolutely. All
yeah,
of ours.
for sure. So, that was life in the Cross family, and we definitely kept, church and God first. So every
Mhm.
Wednesday growing up, we was in Bible study and prayer meeting and the right hand of fellowship. And Saturday, my dad was a musician, so
Okay.
one of the top musicians coming out of Chicago, or a cat named Bobby Jones that used to be on BET back in the day.
I remember that. Yeah, Bobby Jones gospel.
Yeah, yes, Bobby Jones gospel. So
Absolutely.
he spent a lot of time in the church, especially in Carbondale, just playing for different churches and church hopping. So that was the other balance that, really kept us, in line and able to form a belief, and a strong belief on top of that, and balance that out with sports and basketball. So that was a cross family and cross household.
What or who attracted you to the game of basketball? And when you picked up that basketball for the first time, who were some of the people you were looking up to help you develop your game and emulate?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. So you're asking me to go back some years,
Yes, yes.
but I'll say this, man. That it's I'm gonna say the late great Coach Herman Williams. He was one of the assistant coaches at SIU. I kind of had the best of all worlds because I was able to be exposed to a college scene at an early age. So I started out as a ball boy for SIU, so I was able to see up close and firsthand the game through a different lens. The only way I was able to see that is because we couldn't afford to go to the game. So if anybody know about like going to games back in the day, we had to wait till halftime, because at
Get in the
halftime
game.
the workers left.
Yep. Get in the game free.
So it started with that of dad just really exposing us to the game because we couldn't be in the house. It ain't five kids can't be in the house all day. So we got to
Mhm.
he had to do something to keep us active. And that led to somehow Coach Williams, and rest in peace, Coach. But I couldn't afford no shoes to play basketball. And I was trying to go to summer camp. So SIU had the Converse, the first Magic Johnson,
Yeah.
Converse that came out. So
Yeah.
he gave me the first pair of Converse. That led to me going to my first summer basketball camp. That led to being the ball boy and seeing the game from a lens that said, you know what, like, man, I see how I like how the game is being played. I think I can do this. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't like school, right? But I need school to get me to this
Get
next
to
level. So it took me a while to figure that out because I was close to special ed, and it wasn't because I was dumb. I just ain't do my
just
homework.
yeah, I wasn't interested.
No, I was not interested at all. And mind you, my dad was a teacher, and my
That's crazy.
mom was a special ed teacher, and
Yep.
then he was a principal, right? And I'm still not doing well until I got my first scholarship. AJ, I got my first scholarship offer in ninth grade by SIU. And they told me in ninth, and I told SIU no in ninth grade. That I'm better than that. I ain't even know nothing
You
else
had,
about basketball. But I knew I didn't want to be home and I needed to get as far away as I could.
yeah.
So somebody told me, they said, Dan, all you got to do, now mind you, I had a 1.9, and you needed like a 2.3 at
Yeah.
that time and a 17.
And ACT.
So they said, Dan, all you got to do is make good grades and you can play basketball. I said, really? That's all I got to do is just make good grades and
Yeah.
I can play? Because they was going to kick me off the team.
Right.
And from then on, man, I don't want to say I made the honor roll. Let me just,
Yeah.
I had to make the honor roll to get a
Mhm.
1.9 up to a 2.3 for the next 3 years.
Right.
And that lens, I'm just kind of sharing and fast forward, that lens
Absolutely.
led to what I had to do in order to do what I wanted to do. And that's the journey that I was able to, fortunately go down, man.
Outstanding, man. That ends our early segment of the Shooter's Corner podcast with legend Dan Cross. I'm a foreigner to the game of basketball. If I wanted to know the four pillars of Carbondale basketball, who would you give that honor to?
Pillars that
Players.
represent.
Yeah.
Okay. Rest in peace, Pop Tight.
Pop tight.
So Pop Tight came from the east side. So if everybody got a side, right? Whether it's the south side, the east
Yep.
side, whatever that side is,
Yep.
it ain't the right side in our
Right.
This was the east side, right? So Pop Tight, he made sure that the streets didn't get a hold to me. Along with my dad. So let me start with my dad first. My dad is a first pillar.
Okay. Yep.
First pillar. He has introduced and taught me everything that I knew. Pop Tight always wore tight jeans, man.
That's why they called you tight.
Tight. That's why they called him right. So he had like a 40, 45-inch vertical and could jump in tight jeans.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so his way of watching over me at different parks that I surrounded myself is cross. We won't allow the streets to get a hold to you. We just need for you to do what you need to do to represent, the neighborhoods. So I consider him a pillar. Then I'm gonna go to another family member, which is Mr. and Miss Jimmy and Teresa Smith. I stayed in trouble a lot, and so that was the only other house that I could go to when I was in trouble, because these were my best friends that I grew up with the Smith family. So they just kind of kept me on the straight and narrow every time that I tried to get off of the straight and narrow. Uh, so that was 3 pillars, and I'm just gonna say the 4th pillar. As many people as I could mention, I would be disrespectful if I mention one more person. So I'm just gonna mention the game. The game,
yep, for sure. Got you.
My life. It saved my life, man. There's not a whole lot of people coming out of Carbondale, Illinois. It's just Steve Bardo, myself.
Shout out Steve. Yep.
Shout out Steve, big bro Steve.
And Troy Hudson.
And then little bro Justin Dittman, right? And there's a couple others, Rashad Tucker and a few others. But I'm gonna say the game is what has saved me. It saved you. It saved guys like us. So that would be the pillar that has, man, to this day, it still hold me strong. So
absolutely. Shout out all those guys, man, and ladies. Describe the basketball culture in Carbondale when you were coming up, and how did it impact you in your game?
Yeah, I'll say this. So SIU was one of the meccas at that time of basketball, just because it was so many cats that if you wasn't going to U of I, and this is for Illinois, if you wasn't going to U of I, like Southern Illinois, SIU was maybe one of the next spots. SIU was the next spot, and SIU was known as a party school. So everybody is coming from all over the surrounding states, but Chicago was played a big part because it was a lot of cats that went to school in SIU, and so because they didn't make it go to the next level for whatever reason, and you and I both know it's a lot of cats that come out of Chicago that for whether it's grade, whatever,
lack of coachability.
Yeah, that's a better word. Lack of coachability. They would rather not be coached and play that they want to play, be coached and not be able to play their game. So they would come to SIU. So we had the rec center. So the rec center is where cats from Chicago, cats from East St. Louis, cats from Nashville, Tennessee, cats from Indiana, cats from all these surrounding borders would come on the weekend and play, including SIU players. So I was introduced at an early age. So literally, I'm playing with grown-ups, with adults in 7th grade, getting whooped up on. But my dad knew early on that, man, if at least I can just put them in that mix, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, by 9th grade, he gonna be a problem. And so I was able to pick up different styles. Chicago got their own style.
Yeah.
Right? East St. Louis got their own style.
Yeah.
Indianapolis and Evansville, they got their own style. Then Kentucky is right there, so coming over. And then Memphis got their own style. So it was a lot of cats from Memphis that came to SIU. So here's this blended style of basketball, and I'm able to pick up a little style from each one and create my own. And that's kind of where my little boogie, that's where it came from. My wiggle, all that. That's where it came from.
How'd you get better? Now, I'm asking that question in the form of player development today is totally different. A lot of cones, a lot of individual play. And I ask this question because I kind of already know the answer, but I want the listener to understand that what player development was for us growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. What was your player development at that time?
Yeah, so you ain't gonna put too many years on me, so we gonna stick to 90. In the 90s, there was no cone. I don't know what a cone is. Like,
right.
We knew was the police officers that was putting cones out stops, right? Our cones was lines and cracks on the court. So whether it's line jumps, you're gonna find a line and jump over that line. If it's a cut, I knew from angles that I can make certain moves at the elbow. I can make certain moves as I cross half court. That was skill development for me. Most important, I just played every day.
Every day.
Every day, right? That was my homework. That was my honor roll session. I was smart because I was able to learn from so many old heads. Nate Buffett was another one that played at SIU. Shout out to Nate. So they knew I was going to be good. So they would beat up on me a lot, AJ, because they knew that if I wanted to get to the next level, I had to go through them. And there wasn't no way around it. That was my skill development. There was and just a work ethic, you know. And a vision, right? So once you got this vision and this dream of, like, at that time, man, it wasn't no really ESPN, so we can only watch NBA basketball. We ain't had no cable, so Sunday on ABC, NBC, or CBS, right? So that's how Isaiah Thomas, I was able to see him, you know, shout out. And he's a alma mater of your school at Indiana. And other cats like that it allowed me to dream. If anybody know about dreaming, when you don't have no dream or nobody looks like you that can dream like you want to dream, there wasn't no doctors coming from my neighborhoods, lawyers. So what am I aspiring to be? I don't have no examples. I don't want to be no teacher like my dad.
Right? Exactly.
To teachers, I just wanted something different. I wanted to be able to see the world. That's the only dream that allowed me to wake up early in the morning, right? To wake up and to practice more than everybody else, right? So that's what it's done for me, brother.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole process has changed, and I asked that question because I kind of already knew the answer. And, you know, just growing up and playing every single day, I don't think people understand that's the difference that you see in the way the game is played today and how the kids are competing today. You learn how to compete. I always say this: you learn how to become a general manager. You had to pick your own teams. You learn how to play a role. You learn how to be a role player on the team, because you wasn't coming on the grown man team shooting all the shots. You was going to play defense. And you was gonna knock it down if we throw it to you.
Shoot the open shot. You was only getting the open shot because they was gonna back up off of you.
They was gonna back up off you. They're gonna let you take it. And your breakthrough moment is that day that you knock that shot in and you got the respect of your peers. And it was nothing like it. Shooting on uneven rims. I always say the ability to finish at the rim on concrete, because you weren't allowed to hit the floor. You weren't allowed to go hard and run into the pole. You had to control yourself and
learn how to roll over.
And these are the little things that's missing that our kids don't unfortunately get to experience because they're no longer outside and they're no longer approaching it's no longer an organic development that's occurring in the game. So every man to a woman to a person on this podcast said the exact same thing. And I want that to reign supreme when I talk to kids. Hey, you got to know, you want to be different. This is the road you take. You want to be just like them. And because you watch a lot of high school basketball, you can tell the kids who work out on cones and you can tell the kids who play on the streets. It's really easy to tell.
Let me tell you something about this cone. I'm going to tell you what the cone don't do. Cone don't talk, right? The cone don't put you under no pressure when the game is on the line and somebody talking crazy to you, right? The cone don't bump you and leave you down there and say, you get up yourself. The cone don't help you up, right? The cone don't steal from you, don't have no hands out. The cone don't make you adjust, right? The cone does not do anything that a human being does on a daily basis when it comes to the level of competition that you and I played at, that it forced us, right? It forced us to be better. And the only way that can happen is if you play every day. There ain't no way around it.
Preach. When did you notice that you were beginning to separate through all this work, all this play? What was that time period where you said, okay, I can take this to the next level?
I'm gonna tell you, it's a story, man. It I kind of gave you a little bit of my background, so we ain't grow up, with no silver spoon, right?
Absolutely not. Right.
So my ninth grade year, going into my 10th grade year, uh, I found out about Five Star in Rensselaer, Pennsylvania.
Ooh, yeah.
I can't remember if I was invited. Somehow Garfinkel found out about me. We ain't had no money to go, so I kind of watched that. I kind of watched that opportunity because I'm like it's hard enough for me to get to Chicago on Amtrak, or when we drive up there, like how am I gonna get to Pennsylvania? Our car can't make it that far.
Right. Yeah.
It don't go in reverse. The right window don't roll down, and the
Yeah.
heat don't like it. The air
Yeah.
conditioning don't work, and the heat don't work.
Right.
So somehow a lawyer by the name of attorney Womack sponsored me. I ain't know nothing about sponsoring. Somebody said, Dan, have somebody sponsor you. I'm like, well, what is a sponsor? Like,
Right.
you mean like give me some money? My mom already told me, don't ask nobody for nothing.
Right. Yeah.
We can't afford it, we just ain't gonna have it.
Right. Yeah.
So attorney Womack, he sponsored me. And my grandmother, I ain't had no suitcase. Bro, like I ain't had no suitcase, man. We couldn't. So everything we traveled in was trash bags. So they got me on the bus to go to Rensselaer, and my grandmother said. So my grandmother, rest her soul, man. She won the 79th and Princeton's finest out of Chicago.
Yeah.
Said, hey, we can't afford no new shoes to send you, but we gonna clean these shoes. And my mom said, because I had a hole in my shoes, she said, we just gonna tape it up, and that's how you gotta go. But they say, if you come back and you don't make the all-star team, like you're not getting no more shoes. This all we got. These shoes gotta last you until the end of the summer. I said, okay. I went up there, AJ, made the all-star team, and the rest was history.
Wow.
I ain't never had to pay for it. We really had to pay for another pair of shoes. Had to pay for no more camps. Like Garfinkel, at that point, and rest in peace, Garfinkel, right? He made sure that this dream that I was just talking about, like it started to, I could touch it a little bit, right? It started to make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Everybody won a 5-star, and that means, okay, now I'm able to see how good I really am against everybody from around the country. That's how opportunity began for me, man.
Awesome, man. What a story. Who were some of the top players that was at that camp that you battled against, that you had circle? I know you had them circle before you went.
Yeah.
And then you got a chance to compete against.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start out first, like with my Chicago guys. So my class was Juwan Howard, Howard Nathan, which is the only guard that I will give that highest level of respect to in high school that I just had problems with. Like, right. So Howard Nathan, Donnie Boyce, Michael Finley, Travis, like I'm going down. Chris Webber was a Jalen Rose, that Jimmy King, like that whole, man, that was a deep class. So yeah, and I can name some more, but those are just some names that kind of,
Yeah. So your class is that class that I saw in Hoop Dreams.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So no disrespect to Hoop Dreams, but like,
no, for sure.
It's a lot of cats missing in Hoop Dreams.
Absolutely. Exactly. No doubt. They ain't have enough film. I mean, it was a 3-hour film, but they just didn't have enough. There's a couple people that was sitting in them rooms that they should have panned and zoomed through.
We really didn't know them. I didn't know them cats like that. If I did, and no disrespect to them whatsoever.
Yeah.
They didn't make enough noise for us to really, they just didn't make enough noise. But yeah.
For sure. No, that's a heck of a story, man. Downstate senior year, you match up against Proviso in the quarterfinal. What do you remember about that game?
That they had the closest thing to a Fab Five. So Mike Finley, Donnie Boyce, Sherelle Ford.
Mm.
That was enough, right? And they, they was wearing the black socks, so they was really representing the Fab Five, out of Michigan with Juwan and them guys. But they was just a problem. It's just all of them 6'6", 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah,
All of
man.
them can handle the ball. Mike had a Jerry curl back then. They was just a problem. They was too much. It was too much for me to handle along with my teammates.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And for Southern Illinois, if you never played against cats from Chicago or even Peoria, right?
Yep.
It could come over a little intimidating. Never been intimidated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like I spent my days in the park with, playing against these guys, man. To finally play them on the biggest stage in Illinois, and as you know, at that time, it was only 1A and 2A. 1A was the small schools, 2A was the big schools.
That's it. It wasn't 6A. It wasn't 7A.
So 6 different classes? No.
Everybody get a state title. Everybody get one.
So they just wore us out at the end of the day.
That's for sure.
Getting 28-30, but it just wasn't enough. But the respect was there on both sides. So
absolutely.
They knew, like this Cross kid, like we had seen him, we had heard him in the summertime, but the game is different. When you playing in summer league, and then when you put this uniform on and there's some different type of referees out there. To play at at U of I, which was a school that I wanted to go to. It was a dream come true for me to play, on that stage. They just had our hand that night.
Man, you got there. Many of us tried. We couldn't get down there, but it was awesome to watch you guys play down there. So
you didn't make it there?
I never made it downstate. I came up in the time where Manual was super dominant. That was 94 to about 90. They just had it, and we battled in the city. We took them to the wire, but we just could not get rid of them dudes. They were just that good. So, but they won 4 in a row. Yeah, they won. My sophomore year was when they won their first one. So they won, I want to say 3 on my watch. And then they got one more, and then the dynasty ended. But hey, man, they was just mature. They just had it, man. Like you beat that team, you even hang with that team, you're a really good basketball team. And but yeah, we'll get to that. But who was the most impactful to you in high school off the court and then on the court in that journey in high school? Who's the most impactful to you? Who kept you in that straight line to get to that next level at the high school level? Coach, mentor, or anyone like that?
No, not the coach. No, it would be my dad. It would be my mom and my dad and my grandma. So, if you know anything about the history of Chicago, it's a lot of blacks migrated from Mississippi to Chicago. So my grandmother is one of the many that was a part of that movement. What really wasn't that long ago, right?
It seemed like you talking about the Black Panther type movement. Yeah.
It wasn't even the black. It was just the movement from the South to migration, right?
Yeah.
I just call it a movement because that's what it was. Just
absolutely
black people being tired of being treated a certain way. When she went to Chicago, man, it was her chance for freedom. So that's how my dad was raised. My dad and my uncle. So that mentality forced her to make sure that we had a better opportunity. Her grandchildren. Opportunity. Anytime I'm in Chicago, I mean, everybody just knew that, like, she was just a proud grandmother. Yeah. Everybody knew what she kept in her purse. On top of that, everybody, our money, our way of making money was going to the racetracks.
Yeah.
And Arlington Park. So Arlington Park that's how I had my school clothes. So that mentality alone allowed me to figure out and understand numbers like really well, because I'm all between my grandma and her girlfriends, I'm having to make bets on play show. So I got money in all back pocket, front pocket in my hand. So that gave me a mentality of just learning a little bit of financial management. Right?
Yeah.
Mom, dad, and her, they just kept me straight and in line, and I learned a lot from them, whether I liked it or not. This was their way of saying, listen. We may not be the smartest or the most educated, at the time, or, have the most money in our pocket, but we know how to survive, and we're gonna make sure that you get this opportunity. So
Absolutely.
all of that respect goes to
Also, man, and you in this segment off the high school segment, you mentioned two things that are important. You mentioned the ability to see the dream
Yeah.
and I think is really missing. Our kids aren't introduced to people who are successful in the area that they're trying to get to. They got YouTube clips and they watch all of that, but there's no Dan Cross walking around who attended University of Florida and they got a chance to touch him, speak with him, and talk to him, and that's important. And the second part is the support system to keep you on the straight path of getting to where you want to go. And those two things I taught to parents and kids. So you have to simplify this process. You have to see the dream. You have to be able to touch it. You have to go to a Nike camp. You have to be able to compete against the best and have success. And then once your head get full, you got to have that family to bring you back in and guide you onto the right path to keep you focused on what the dream is and why you're doing it. So your why. So that's important, man. And I'm going to put you on the spot here to end off this segment, man. I want you to answer this wisely because they'll rip you apart on this internet when I put this excerpt out. So you're very educated about Illinois basketball, Chicago, Carbondale. I need you to tell us who are the top 7 basketball players from the state of Illinois that you've seen with your own eyes.
We just talking about my class, or we
talking about you, who you say are the top 7 Illinois-born basketball players, period.
Okay. But you just said a key word that I seen with my own eyes. So that means people can't come at me real hard.
It ain't, and they still come at you, but it's cool. It's your own eyes. So your own eyes and your own opinion. That's what's most important. And disclaimer, we are not excluding anybody. This is his opinion. Yeah. Go right ahead.
And I'm a repeat the disclaimer. This is my opinion of that I seen with my own eyes. So if I hadn't seen you, that do mean I ain't heard you before, or I ain't seen you on TV. But this is this is with my own eyes up close. So I'm gonna start out with Howard Nathan first. Just a cold brother, man. Just anything and anybody he don't mind facing. I'm gonna throw Troy Hudson. I'm going to throw him in the mix just because he was a problem. He's a little bit younger than me, but he took everything I had and did his best to add his own little spice to it. Mike Finley. Mike was just a problem. Yeah, he was a serious problem.
Tell me this, Mike Finley, I'm watching him play in high school. I don't even think he knew how good he was.
He didn't. Like, if I was him, I wouldn't have went to Wisconsin. Jackson was the coach there, so I kind of understand that. But like, I don't know how he got away from U of I, right? From some of these other teams.
Man, that's incredible.
Wisconsin really ain't do nothing. And then I probably have to go with some old heads, man. Jamie Brandon, going back, yeah.
Talk to me about Jamie Brandon.
So I had, he made it, I think King, this one they was called King before they added the new names to King College Prep. I saw him at one of the state games, man, and I think this one they was wearing their tights. Yeah, little tight suits with Thomas Hamilton and Rashard Griffith. I think it was freshmen. But he was projected as like the next Michael Jordan, at that time. I'm gonna put Marcus Liberty in that group.
That's 5.
How many more I got?
2 more. You got Howard Nathan, Michael Finley, Troy Hudson, Jamie Brandon, Marcus Liberty. Who's rounding out that top 7? Your own eyes or your own experience.
Like, I can't throw Tim Hardaway and Isaiah just because they was older than me.
Older than you, yeah. And that doesn't mean they're not top 3, but that's just who you saw and who you played against. I didn't have a
chance to play against them.
Exactly. So
I'm missing some cats. Tom Kleinschmidt.
Whoo, boy, y'all class was on fire.
That white boy was a problem.
Yes, he was. Y'all class was on fire.
Yeah, he was a problem.
One more to round out your top 7.
It's too many cats out there. They're gonna be really mad at me too, because my mind wasn't prepared for that question, AJ.
You give me one more, and then we'll throw some honorable. We'll throw some. I won't say honorable.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw some other names out there.
Because I may have to sub some people in and take some people out. I don't know, bro. I ain't gone blank. So give me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You talked about you with Juwan Howard. I don't know if you played against Juwan. You talked about.
I did.
Guys.
Juwan was fundamental, right? Juwan. Yeah, Juwan was he was solid, right? You asked me for my top, right? Juwan was like the Tim Duncan, right? But I don't know if I would have paid to see Juwan.
Right, exactly, no doubt, no doubt.
Right?
Shout out Juwan, but
yeah, definitely shout out Juwan.
Yep.
Right? So that's no disrespect. You asked me, yeah. So,
yeah, with your own eyes, who you played against. What about Brandon Cole?
Brandon Cole was nice.
Nice, okay. All right. I just names that I've heard before. So,
but we talking about. I can't match him up. I can't compare him to Howard Nathan.
No.
I can't compare him to Jamie Brandon.
We're gonna leave that there. You gave me 6. If you could think of one more as we're moving forward, that I know somebody gonna pop in your head that you battle. They go on fire for this because they want to hear their people, and we want them to hear their people. And well, it's based off your experience. Like I remember who I experienced as players. I'm like, damn, that's what I'm looking for because that's your experience. Everybody had their own opinion, but I'm going off what I experienced and what I played against, and so that's why it's important. So you develop into a fantastic high school player. What was your recruitment like? Were you highly recruited? Were you still underrated? Because you played with a chip on your shoulder, so I'm assuming you was underrated. But what was your recruiting process like after your explosion at the camp?
It was pretty solid, man. Just the knock on me was my grades. Like
right? Can he get in?
Yeah, can he get in? Right.
Yeah.
So from George Raveling out at USC. So I would like to say that I was highly recruited, but it was always a question mark there. So if the question mark wasn't there, then a lot of I'm 6'2", 6'3", but there's a lot of cats that's 6'2", 6'3", right? And if somebody if a coach don't have that problem of is he gonna pass his ACT? I had to take the ACT 5 times. How long the coach gonna wait around? And I wasn't going. It was Prop 48 at that time.
At the time, you weren't doing that, right?
Man, listen, I would have took this thing and I took it 5 times, and I would have took it 6 or 7 times until I passed it.
Hey, so you had to get the cumulative score.
All the above.
I love
it. Whatever else came along with that, man.
Ain't that crazy that they don't even need it no more? All that stress they put on you and all the potential suitors that you could have went to, they had to back off because someone probably was like, I can't wait. So-and-so got his grade, so I'm going to take him. And now all of a sudden you don't need it at all.
I've been breaking rules ever since because rules change every 3-4 years.
No doubt.
Yeah, my mind a little different when it comes to rules. I just don't really pay attention. Coach tell me to run a play. Why he tell I'm gonna shoot the ball, man. And if it go in, he ain't got nothing to say.
That was the play.
That was the play.
My man.
So a lot of coaches had no choice but to back off of me because they didn't believe. It wasn't that they didn't believe in my game. They didn't believe that I had what it took to pass this ACT. I'm not a good taker. I don't like tests. I just told you I don't like school. So if I don't like school, I definitely don't like no tests.
Right.
I understood that the things that I was interested in, I was really smart at. Really, really smart at. Interested in. Hey man, you're gonna have to hold my hand and walk me to the end of to the front and the back of the bus.
Hey, that's the truth though, man. You learn that as you get older. You don't know that as a kid. You don't know why you're not interested. I just don't want to do this. But you find me something that I can lock into, like this game of basketball.
Right.
Oh, I'm trying to figure this thing out. Any algebraic equation within this, I'm gonna figure it out. But I don't care about biology. I don't care. You know what I mean? That was just the mentality. I completely concur with that, bro. Ain't used it since. Ain't used it
Nope.
since. I don't get it, but and it's a shame that they pulled us through that. A lot of our kids. You talked about the guys that didn't make it. A lot of dudes that didn't make it was because of that. It was either because they didn't like organization, they didn't like coaching, or they didn't like school. And not many people that knocked out of the opportunity to play is crazy because of where we are today. Were there schools you thought you'd end up at but didn't? You said you wanted to go to Illinois. What were your top 5 schools? What was it that made you end up going to Florida?
Well, U of I told me that I was gonna have to sit behind. It was a guard by the name of Rennie Clemens.
I remember Rennie. Yeah,
Rennie was
that's
nice, right? But I just ain't think he was better than me.
How you say that with so much realness? I can see you saying that to your parents.
Yeah, and
He's
that's
not better
that's
than
what I
me,
told
man.
him. Who was Clement? Who was the assistant coach at U of I?
Jimmy Collins.
Collins. I'm like,
Yep.
coach, like he's not better than me. I'm not waiting 2 years to take over the show. So
Yeah.
I removed them. So it was a handful of SEC schools, a handful of Big Ten schools.
Mm-hmm.
George Raveling out of USC. He like recruiting in the Midwest. So it was like Mississippi State, but I couldn't go. Like I spent my summers in Mississippi, and I wasn't going there if I ain't have to go there, right? So Mississippi State, it was Florida, it was Cincinnati. Now I probably I thought I made a mistake by turning Cincinnati down. But as you know, AJ, like when you get so many phone calls and get recruited by so many colleges, like after a while you get tired of the phone
You
ring.
get tired of it. Yep.
Yeah. And it wasn't like we had no call waiting at the time. The coach is gonna keep calling until
They
it's
go.
not busy no more.
Yep.
The Cincinnati was calling me so much and just wanted me to come just to take a visit. And at the time,
Was that Bob Huggins?
yes,
Okay. So you was gonna be playing with Danny Fortson. You was gonna be
yes,
playing. All right.
yeah.
Now don't sound bad to me, but
Listen, man, they said it didn't at the time, but I'm gonna tell you just how this where the stubbornness come in. Like I'm gonna do what the hell I want to do at the
right.
end, right? So Coach Huggins, and it was assistant coach, the brother that was recruiting me. He said, Dan, we really want you. We want you bad, but it's another player, another JUCO player by the name of Nick Van Exel. If we don't take you, we're gonna take him. I said, y'all gonna have this is my mindset.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna take this JUCO player over me? And coach had called when I was taking a nap. And I woke up and I was irritated.
He was irritated.
Like, hey, coach, don't call me no more, man. But I regret that because
for sure.
my freshman year, they ended up going to the Final Four with Nick Van Exel.
And
Nick, that's his bad boy right there.
Bad boy. It worked out on both ends. Let's say it like that. Lon Kruger, what did he do to convince you to leave Carbondale?
It wasn't Lonnie didn't really have, he didn't have a whole lot of impact in that decision. It was the assistant coach, right? It was the assistant coach by the name of Robert McCullum. He the only reason that I went to Florida.
Wow.
But remember, I told you that I turned down my first scholarship when I was in 9th grade. He was the assistant coach at SIU that had been recruiting me from 9th grade. He went from SIU to Kansas State with Lon Kruger, and they recruited me there. I said, no, I don't want to go to Kansas. I don't want to live in Kansas. I already knew where I didn't want to live at. Like, I can live here for the next 3 or 4 years, or I could possibly live here for the rest of my life. It ain't enough people that look like us, that look like me. Turned down Kansas State. They went from Kansas State to Florida. So they don't call me Dan. My family don't call me Dan. They call me Kurt, right? She's like, Kurt, we here at Florida now. What you think about playing in the SEC? And at the time, Kentucky, Billy Donovan was one of the assistant coaches at Kentucky. So I used to spend my summers at their summer camps. So, man, this lineup was Billy Donovan, assistant coach. Tubby Smith was assistant coach. Rick Pitino was a head coach. Herb Sendek was the other. I knew I wanted to play in the SEC. But again, Kentucky was recruiting me, but I didn't want to have to wait 2 years. So it convinced me enough to say, what? Since Kentucky don't want me, I'll go to Florida. And I can play against them and prove to them that they should have recruited me. That was my mindset. And so that's how I got to Florida, was because Coach Mack said, Dan, We got the right situation for you. We know you want to play right away, and you can come here and play right away. And because of that, then I found out that their colors was orange and blue.
Right.
Because I go to U of I because they was wearing orange and blue. This was the closest orange and blue.
That's crazy, man. That
Yep.
is nuts. The things
Yep.
that we as young people use to motivate us to go to certain schools and do. It was just, I was talking to one guy and he's like, I went to this high school because my cousin went to the high school, ended up being one of the best players. It's like, I said, some things is written, man, and you just got to take it with a grain of salt. But then when you went to Florida, did you end up being a backup still? And how was that different from what you were going to do at Cincinnati, at Illinois behind Rennie? How did you handle being a backup with that mentality?
It was rough. I had never been a backup to nobody. And mind you, I already told the coaches I want to play my freshman year. I want to start. That's the goal. So, I got to Florida. Mind you, I probably only lost 9 games in high school, like total
Right.
between my freshman. Then I played varsity from sophomore year on up. But I went in as a starter. Then I lost my starting position as a freshman.
Okay.
It's just, listen, man, the SEC was tough, and it took me some time to adjust. Now, I held my own, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started, then I was a backup for a while as a freshman. Mm-hmm. Then I started again as a freshman. The lineups were Shaq was at LSU, All Mashburn was at Kentucky with that crew. Hollywood Robinson and Robert Horry was at
Alabama.
So to answer your question, man, like it took some time for me to adjust to SEC basketball. As you know, going from high school to high level, the game is faster. The speed of the game is faster. You now having to remember not a couple plays from high school. You having to remember plays, right? And as a freshman, you don't necessarily have the total green light. You need to make sure that you understand as a point guard what everybody else is supposed to do. And then my mentality and Lon's mentality, it didn't click. It didn't click at all. It ain't. But this is what I understood from Lon is like Lon is an X and O guy.
Yeah.
Mastermind. And so the personalities didn't click. That bumped heads with me and him a lot. Once I understood the system, as you know, you playing for Bobby Knight.
Yeah, for sure.
Once you understand the system and you buy in, the coach is going to let you wiggle and do what you want to do. So it just took me some time. I don't like the system, but that's the system that we in sometime, and that's just the system that I had to learn and adjust to.
That's amazing that you talk about that, because nowadays, of course, it's transfer portal. You don't like the system, you leave. And I asked that question because it's important that our young men and women who play college basketball understand the ebbs and flows of in adjusting to college basketball, and that adjustment really is on the floor with the mentality of the coach and their system, how they want you to play. So that's important, man. And I love to hear that, because you went from that backup to a starting point guard in the national championship game, man. So I want to get to that part about the national championship. I mean, sorry, not the national championship game, but the Final Four semifinal run. Talk about that team that year, and how did you guys? What happened for you guys for you to understand that you guys had a chance to make it to the Final Four? What were the traits that you saw on your team?
The traits were early on, right? And if my memory served me correctly, I was getting ready to leave Florida.
Oh man, let's rewind then, because I'm here bigging you up.
Yeah.
How about how you handled it, and you was about to bounce. So let's rewind that. Why were you gonna leave Florida?
I handled it the best I could, but I didn't feel like the style was the right. Like I had to change a lot of my game, change my wiggle. And what I didn't understand about the wiggle is you really not wiggling in the SEC, like anyway. But I thought that I needed a different kind of freedom. So it was just too much back and forth. Like I knew I was better than this point guard I was playing against, and coach was just loyal to him. And I don't understand the kind of systems. I still don't to this day. If I'm better than you and I outplay you, I need to be playing. Anybody that know me know I'm gonna voice my opinion, and I'm most likely gonna let you have it. So with that, I didn't wanna be there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back to Illinois, man. So I was in Chicago for most of the summer, playing at Kennedy King, which is a big summer league there. And coach convinced me to come back. The assistant coach convinced me to come back after word had got out. We was going to Australia. So to answer your question, it was just rewind a little bit. The team went to Australia that summer. And as you know, when a college team gets a chance to travel abroad, like one or two things can happen. Either it's going to be a bond that is going to be hard to break because there aren't that many college teams that have the opportunity to get that extra playing time and practice time, right? Game time.
Yeah.
We were able to do that. And mind you, I didn't want to go to Australia. Like I almost missed a plane.
Jeez.
And I didn't want to go. I wanted to go home. I was
right.
To go home.
Yeah.
Ended up going to Australia, man. That team, that team bonded, and that's when we figured out like we may have a chance. Good, but now it's still we just dreaming because it went like we was in the top 25 the year before. We was in the what's the other tournament, the NIT. So I'm like, man, I don't want to be in the NIT for a third year.
Yeah.
So came back, man. We won a couple games early on in the season, and I was given the freedom that I didn't have before. Right, it wasn't no back and forth with another point guard. Like it really wasn't none of that. So it wasn't like I got any better.
Right.
I was just given the opportunity. I wasn't looking over my back, looking on the sideline. If I made a mistake and coach, it wasn't none of that. And I was envy a little bit because my counterparts, Juwan Howard and those guys,
it was getting busy out there.
Yeah, they went to the Final Four the year before. We were just all together on the All-Star team a couple years. Games and all that stuff. So I'm envy because I want that experience. And whatever I got to do to get there, that's what I'm gonna do. And that early on in the season, that's when we knew we got a chance. And then we started beating a couple SEC teams that nobody expected us to beat. Nobody expected me to take this, to take this corner of just a level of upgrade in my game. And after you have that level of confidence, AJ, as you know, playing in the Big Ten, playing in the SEC, at that point, I ain't think nobody could stop me. Really ended up being the case my junior year, man. Man, we had to go to a Final Four.
That's awesome. First ever Final Four for the University of Florida. It's always best to be the first to ever do anything. National semifinal against an opponent like Duke, Grant Hill, Cherokee Parks, a senior-led Duke basketball team had a 13-point lead.
Don't talk about it.
Man, I'm gonna have you talk about it. Just to tell me once you got to that 13-point lead. Now that you're a former coach, you've been everything. You're a pro. Looking back, what happened in that semifinal?
Still don't know what happened because we ain't never lost no 13 points.
No, not with Dan Cross on the floor. So I need to know what's so, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what you want. You want to dream it right? You want to dream it? You want to dream it just like that.
That was my dream, AJ. It all came true. I do know this. It's a guy by the name of Grant Hill. That's that's a friend of mine.
Yep.
And he just took over.
That's what I was hoping you was gonna say. I was gonna make it simple for you. It was like the pro took over, basically.
He played like a pro.
He did. He looked grown as hell out there. Like I watched the game today. I actually watched it as a kid, but I wouldn't know what I was watching. I was like, the bounce, the physical, the approach to the game. He hitting threes. Like he
ain't no 3-point shooter.
Exactly. I said the pro took over. Didn't panic. His face was straight. You know what I mean? Like that's what I saw, and I was like, ain't nothing AJ Guyton or Dan Cross can probably do about that. But still, 13-point lead. Dan Cross at the one. This is how you draw it up, man. So I know that thing sting.
Yeah, man. And as you know, a 13-point lead, that ain't no safe lead.
It ain't safe, but with Dan Cross, it should take moving a mountain I mean, the guards that y'all had great guard play, good centers. You had a Dimitri Hill you could throw it into. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that, just
Yeah,
safe. Like, you know,
yeah.
but in the Duke, it wasn't like outside of Grant Hill, it wasn't no other real pros out there. So, I mean, you had
We
Marty
was not
Clark and Jeff
intimidated.
Capel, you know,
Yeah,
huh?
we wasn't intimidated.
No, y'all ain't play with no fear at all. Like, you look like the better team. It was just that moment from the TV timeout on to the rest of the game where it's just kind of gradually just dropped down. I wasn't in the huddle, so I was trying to get in the huddle to see what the coaches were saying, what you were saying, how you were trying to motivate your team to win this game.
It just that's how the game goes sometimes. And then you
I
got to
agree.
respect the game, because if you've been in control of the game the entire season and all
Yep.
of a sudden that control somehow leaves you, that's just how the game went, right?
Mhm.
And then the
Yep.
ball don't fall a certain way. I believe it was a bad call at the end that could have, changed the game with a charge that was called and some other loose ends that,
Yep.
there ain't gonna be too many blowouts
Right.
and
Mhm.
so we end up losing by, I think, 3 at least. But
Yeah.
that game will haunt me, because you said, I just started shaking my head.
You sure did. I don't understand how that haunts you though. Like, I think that's fantastic to get to a Final Four, to play that whole week of just preparing to play and just being in that game. You're going to be forever etched in stone. Even watching that game today, I got chills. I'm like, God damn, man, that's like the dopest thing you can do as an athlete. So there ain't no reason to feel bad. And it was a pro that eventually put you out. Like, at the end of the day, it was a top. Grant Hill would be a top 25 player if he didn't get injured. So at the end of the day, so I'm taking
you
what it is.
and all that, this is what my response still is. Like, I don't really give a damn.
I love it. Oh yeah, I'm trying to soften it up for you, man.
Yeah.
Like, because I ain't been in those Final Four, and I just think it's awesome I'm watching that game. I'm looking at you as a young man. I'm just going through I'm just in your head because I'm an adult now. I'm just like, what are you thinking right now? I'm just watching your poise, your ability to you navigating. Y'all was cutting them up. They couldn't do nothing. It just slowly got away from Coach K called that timeout, and then it just shifted. Slowly but sure. And I'm like, damn, I know he just want to just go take this thing, but you had to continue to remain poised and try to let your players make plays. And eventually the pro made all the plays at the end of the day, man. He did. You made some plays too. So, but no, that's awesome. I'll congratulate you on that, man. 24-25 Florida national champions. Are you happy with the job Top Golden has done at the University of Florida today? And I mean, I'm sure you're a proud alumni at Florida right now.
Yeah, extremely proud to see our program at the top. I was blessed and able to go to the national championship game, to the Final Four game. It may have been the best Final Four that I have ever witnessed or experienced, from top to bottom. But to be able to witness what I helped to, just selfishly now, what I helped to create. You mentioned that we were the first. There aren't too many people that can say that they were the first in anything. Even with our back-to-back championships, they were the first to win the championship, but we was the first to get to the Final Four, right? We was the first to put Florida on the map. So
you put them on the map.
I take a lot of pride.
Absolutely.
I take a lot of pride in that, and I sometimes gotta refresh people's memory of how this all got started. But to see us win in the manner that we did, and to know that I'm still welcome to be a part of the Gator Nation and the Gator basketball program. Like, I sit on the booster board now, man, and the Hall of Fame board. So I'm involved in some different areas. But to be able to look through a different lens now and appreciate the game. It was a point in time where I couldn't appreciate the game no more, because I was transitioning out of something that I had loved for so long. So it was almost like a divorce. So to be able to witness and have fun all over again, and be happy for a team that I once played for, that's a hell of an experience. So just very proud to just to be a Gator.
It's awesome how that brings you guys together, because I also saw that on your Instagram about them reinstating Vernon Maxwell, and he's a good friend of yours, man. And I think that's really the lifeline of these programs. I love to see the North Carolinas, the Dukes, the Floridas, and them treating their alumni as the first, and with all due respect. That's how you continue to recruit great players.
Yep.
It's because they speak through the alumni, and if the alumni don't speak for you, then
No.
those great players are going. Those players are going to feel that, and they're going to go a different direction. So I absolutely love Mad Max. I recruited his son when I was coaching Loyola, so
Okay.
I was happy to see them reinstate him, and I want to see more of that in college basketball. What was your thoughts about them reinstate? Did you have any impact on that, or it was just something that you just supported wholeheartedly?
Nah, you know, I carry a little weight.
Yeah, absolutely. You outspoken, so
Yeah,
I know you saying something.
yeah, I did. I mean, Max didn't do nothing that these NIL kids is doing nowadays. So he was just ahead of the game. Now he had gotten a little bit of trouble. Yeah, but we talking about taking a man's all his scoring points away. So if you're gonna take his points away, then the athletic director need to be fired. The coach need to be like, y'all ain't take no money from the coach. Y'all ain't firing him. That's a little drastic. So I just voiced my opinion from a very educational standpoint. Is like, why is his records taken away for a problem that he could have had, some mental health issues? Did anybody address mental health? Y'all get him checked out, right? Did y'all give him the help that he needed? Or like y'all didn't say he couldn't play at the time that he was winning basketball games and breaking records?
Exactly. Y'all sending right on out there.
Why the coach knowing about it as well? So if that's the case, take all the coaches' records. So anyway,
everybody does go. No, full disclaimer, they did the right thing. They reinstated them they listened to the voices of the alumni. And I'm looking to see more college universities follow in that way than they're trying to erase. I remember the Fab Five. They try, how the hell are you going to erase the Fab Five? Like, what is y'all on? Like, so thank you for being a voice for that, because I want to see more of that.
As though AJ, don't nobody speak up, especially us. Like we have to be in certain positions, and no disrespect to my counterparts of different cultures, but if our own culture can't speak up in front of other cultures and other races in front of these boardrooms, a lot of things will continue to be swept under the rug or just ignored. Max don't like. It's a good dude, man. He's a good
guy. Great, fantastic dude.
Yeah, so I'm proud of him. So I had a chance to see him, man, and just wish him the best and congratulate him. So very happy for him.
As an outside alum, thank you. Describe yourself. You walked in as a high school kid, young, eager to play at the University of Florida. Describe yourself as a finished product at the University of Florida. What kind of basketball player and man did it help you become?
Great question, man. I what Florida did for me, it just opened my eyes to the world, right? It opened my eyes to a different culture. When I took my recruiting visit, it was in December. I got out the car and it was 75 degrees outside. So I thought, like, if it was cold in Illinois, that it was cold
everywhere. Yeah, exactly right.
So it exposed me just to what the world and the possibilities could look like.
Yeah.
I only knew black and white growing up.
Right? Yep.
Now I'm meeting people from the islands. I'm meeting people from South America, right? I'm meeting people from all over the world that's going to the same school that I'm going to. That's coming for education. They coming to party, right? They will support you, and then it's a network, right? So this networking becomes an extended network because you really don't know what these students gonna be later on in life.
Man,
right? But they're gonna be something.
They're gonna be something. They're gonna be company. They're gonna be CEOs, CFOs. They're gonna be all those things.
Athletic directors is always while we focus on basketball, right? So, Florida it changed my life, man. It grew me up. in a lot of different areas. It taught me about adversity. It
Mm-hmm.
taught me about how to deal with adversity. It took away the homesickness that I had, because I thought home was everything, whether it was Carbondale or Chicago. I didn't think that there was another world outside of that. So yeah, I think for the just the culture, man, I've been exposed and I met some of the coolest people in the world from all over the world, right? And when you play in Europe and you had this Gator tag on, right, like you probably seen it on commercial. When people say "Go Gators" like that, that's
it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Yep.
So I'm just thankful to be a part of that molding. Like it truly did mold me into a man that, like, at this point, when you on this island in Florida, when you come from Illinois, like, you by yourself. Figure it out, make the best out of it. That's what my grandmother, make the best out of this situation. I just saved my parents $80,000 to $100,000 that they didn't have. Right? So this free education, I can't really go in having no bad attitude like I'm used to having, right? So it just changed my mind. It changed my relationships with people, right? They smile down here, AJ. They smile. They nice down here. What you looking at? Why you looking at me? You know, you stepped on my shoe. You know, you bumped into me wrong, and we ready to pop off. Like, listen, they're going to give you some sweet tea. They're going to smile at you. But I will say this about Florida. Don't let the smile fool you. Like, yeah. But it just opened my mind up to, like, the culture that I want to create for myself, for my family, for my kids, right? How to treat people, how networking becomes important, man. So it's molding me into that guy. And I've just tried to take every advantage to the best of my ability and use it. And we talking 30 years later.
30 years later, man, no, that's a 100%. When I mentor my students, that's the number one thing. That's the biggest mistake, and it really wasn't a mistake. It was just my personality the thing I would change the most about my experience in college was being social outside of my basketball circle. Because you get so tied into practice, homework, you know, the commitments or whatever. You like, by the time you done, you like, man, I just want to go to my room and chill. But then, you know, this person will invite you to this event. This person invites you. These are going to be CFOs of companies. It's going to be, like you said, athletic directors. They're going to be people who are hiring when we're done playing this game, after we've put our blood, sweat, and tears in this game. So that's the message. I'm glad you really, really touched on that.
And let me say one more thing, AJ. Like, this is the one thing that I regret, right? So mind you, I went from a kind of just this recruit to like the popular guy on campus, right? Where the bus drivers used to stop as I'm walking to class and give me candy just to say, hey, Dan, we appreciate you. Right. We saw you on TV last night, right? So I had the opportunity, as I was walking to class one day, the student government came up to me and they was like, Dan, we love the way you represent the university. We want you to run for student government.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, AJ, if it was one thing that I regret, it ain't got nothing to do with basketball. I wish I would have ran just to open up my network. Now we talking senators, we talking presidents, right? We talking mayors and commissioners, right? I still ended up beating them, but if I would have had, if somebody would have just, I wasn't educated enough to. It
was like you said, it was just something that you just like, man, I can't wait. I ain't got time. I'm tired. Like I'm you know, when you be a big man on campus, everybody want to talk to you. So you develop this shield. After a while, you're like, man, here he come. They get to making eye contact with you. Oh, there go AJ guy. I'm like, oh God damn. So now I'm trying to avoid, instead of getting ingratiate myself into these different cultures. A lot of Asians go to these schools. A lot of foreign students go to these schools, and I just didn't engage. And that's the regret. I was like, if I could go rewind, so the only thing I would change is I would engage. I would get involved in some of the things happening on campus. I would take that time, because if I would have known that when I'm looking for a gig, when I'm done hooping, and now I got a relationship, you know, everything is relationship based. So, and that's number one. So I'm gonna be mindful of your time, man. I'm moving forward here. I'm just gonna ask you one question about graduating from the University of Florida, the 1995 NBA draft. How pissed were you? I want to know how pissed you were. Because I know, listening to you, I know this dude was sitting in a chair steaming. You done killed all these dudes that's got drafted in front of you.
Yeah, it took a toll on me, if you understand and can define toll. It's really the wrong word to use, but I had done everything. Like, I was told to leave my junior year right after the Final Four. I was already probably a top 4 or top 5 point guard. I just didn't think it was going to get worse. So I just didn't think. So this last dream, right? I dreamt to get to college. I dreamt to go to the Final Four. It was, I can't define what that feeling was, right? Devastating, angry, like every kind of emotion hit me because I couldn't understand. I was told, like, if you do everything you're supposed to do, this is going to happen. I did everything, like every accolade, all SEC, first team, like everything. So this is what I've understood now, right? Because, I still had a chance to play 10 years, man, professionally. For whatever reason, God closed this door. It wasn't because I wasn't talented enough. That was already proven. And I don't want to be the guy in the barbershop that said, I wish if this would have happened, or I moved. I don't want to be that dude. The people that know me and know my background and experience, everybody knows. At least I should have been on somebody's roster, right?
Right.
My own college coach didn't sign me, and he was a head coach with the Atlanta Hawks, and I went at vet camp, did work with Rick Mahorn when Rick Mahorn was in the CBA at the time, and I was playing against him, so I already knew I had ends in Jimmy Jackson, like all these guys saying, "Cross, man, it's a spot for you." And when my own head coach, don't. So I've been battling against a lot of. I just been battling, right? Yeah. So it's something it's a daily prayer that every once in a while that spirit will awake, But I will say this: we both have a lot of friends that have experienced the NBA. The route and the journey has not been a very healthy journey. What it attracts, who you're attracted to, what comes along with that. And I'm not saying that would have happened to me. My mom says it, but because she knows what kind of lifestyle I live. If God closed those doors to allow me to live, but see the world differently, Europe ain't bad.
$100 million and bankrupt.
Right? So for whatever reason, man, just to put me at peace, right? When you deal with depression, like I have, right? When you, a loss of identity, when you deal with these kind of adversities, it's difficult to transition. That's why I want to be around basketball for a very long time. I got to figure this out. I got the rest of my life to live, and I can't be the angry dude blaming everybody else all the time without somebody else. To answer your question, yeah, I wasn't in a good space, or a good space when I'm hearing all these names called, and I'm back at home where I first started dreaming.
No, I think that we similar paths. I was fortunate enough to get drafted, but what I wasn't prepared for was the things outside of basketball. Like I didn't know anything about what type of agent you needed to hire. I didn't know that would impact where you were drafted and what opportunities you get. The one thing that I didn't do as a player is I wasn't myself. I tried to fit into something that they told me I should be, and it ended up costing me an opportunity, a longer career. And that's the regress. Oh, I'm looking back like, why did you try to be John Stockton? You ain't John Stockton, man.
Right.
You AJ. Go be you, and you let the cards fall where they may. But not understanding that is what cost the opportunity. And I think a lot of times us small town guys, that's what we get. I think that's the advantage of guys that grow up in big cities around pros, that get game from pros. They get that information from other pros that keep them in the league, that'll give them that opportunity by knowing these things. And that's just something we didn't know at the end of the day. And it's never ends. You always think about it when people talk about it. But I knew from your competitive standpoint that was a dog day, that NBA draft, boy, watching those guys getting their name called. But you got the opportunity, like me, to see the world, and playing in Europe and internationally changed my mindset. It was a hell of a consolation prize. And what it did was it changed. It sent me back home with a full heart and a want to give back to my community from what I witnessed and what I saw in Europe. And I want to ask you this one question about your journey in Europe. It comes from an area of mentorship. That's important to me, because I don't think young Black men understand the importance of a mentor. We don't latch on to people outside of our fathers and some uncles. We don't latch on to professionals outside of that to get the information we need as we go on this journey at life after basketball. If you knew a player was having second thoughts about continuing their career abroad, what would you say to them?
That you live one life. You only got one chance at this kind of opportunity. So if you had the opportunity to see the world, to meet different people, to broaden your network, untrain the trained mind, to unlearn the learned mind. Like, this is the perfect opportunity to expose yourself to what you only read and hear about on TV. So my belief is I would rather see something one time than to read about it 1,000 times. I lived in Israel, right? And what I learned about the history in Israel, and from a biblical standpoint, it don't match anything that I learned in church. It don't match it matches very few things. Let me say that.
Yeah. Because you felt it, you witnessed it.
I witnessed it for myself. I understand the true meaning and translation of many things that our pastors and preachers here are only translating from their understanding, but they
ain't never been there. That's why it changed Malcolm X going to Mecca.
Yes.
It changes you.
Yes. So that transformation alone, I would encourage anybody, man. I've lived in Israel, Greece, Athens, Greece, man, Italy, Turkey, all over the world, and the experience and the cultures that have embraced me, I've been able to embrace. Now you got to learn how to adjust to other religions, beliefs, cultures, and if you can adjust anywhere. So you're going to feel the homesickness. You're going to feel, you ain't going to be comfortable living somewhere that you ain't been before. The goal is to go see what it's like.
Experience it.
You can always come back. You can't always go. They paying for your ticket. They paying for your family's ticket. Like, man, go see what they got. The kind of money that you're going to make with them paying you coming out of school.
You ain't gonna start find a job giving you $15 a month. Fine, tax free. Good luck.
So that's what I would encourage, is just to see the world, man. Just just grow emotionally, go mentally, grow culturally, grow through whatever religion that you believe in. And for me, it was Christianity. So I was able to, that strengthened my faith. It forced me to believe and research for myself. So, and ask a lot of questions. So that's who I am, brother.
Ingratiate yourself into the culture, man. Hapoel Tel Aviv. That's one thing both you and I share. I played there too. Lived in Tel Aviv. I had a little crib there on the Mediterranean. I really enjoyed my time in Israel, and it was a far cry from what everybody told me it was. It was nothing like it. Lived in Italy. I went to the Colosseum. I went to the Vatican. I was able to just tour Italy, Milan, Greece. Milan, Venice, and just had a blast, man. And those are memories they can't take away from us. But the first step was to leave America. Got to leave it where it is mentally and physically, and ingratiate yourself into the culture, and you'll get out of it more than you expected. So that's an awesome take on it, man. Let me ask you one question about college sports. put your administrative hat on, what would you do to stabilize college sports?
The only thing that I would do, so I do like where it is. I think leave on the drop of a dime, his players this and promise them to go there instead of going somewhere else, then players can do it too. All right. But I would put a union together and just to stabilize, how this money is floating around, protect the players first, but also to protect their careers, their financial management as well. So I would put some of those things in place, much like what the NBA does to make salary caps. Like I would for a salary cap, meaning that a kid should be able to make as much money as he wants to, but it's just a lot of loose ends out there right now that just
I absolutely enjoy where it is right now. I think it's the Wild Wild West, but it deserves to be the Wild Wild West based on the impact that it's had on the hundreds of thousands before us. But the one thing I noticed, man, and the reason why I like where it is, because I know the amount of lying that players had to endure from coaches and not be able to do anything about it. And what I mean by that is recruiting Dan Cross, selling Dan Cross a dream, getting Dan Cross to Florida, and then it being totally different. And there's a lot of players that didn't have the support system that you had to call home and your dad to say, hey man, figure it out. They didn't have that. So they crashed out and it ruined their careers. And that coach was able to go get another job, and your career is ruined based on the lie that you were told. So now it gives you the right to say, you know what, I don't want to be here. I can go play at Iona. I could go play at whatever I want to play. And because people don't understand the amount of finessing that these coaches over the last 50, 60 years have done, especially young men of color in their system, and ruin their careers and have people not wanting to deal with them anymore, ruining their names within the scope of recruiting, and those kids not having anywhere to turn to. And so I love to see people complain. I'm like, no, don't complain, because there's some guys that, like you talked about, that could have been, but they were told a story and got there, and it was nothing like you said it was. You didn't give them the opportunity, you get in the minutes, and all of a sudden you don't like their game, and now you put them on the end of the bench, and they couldn't do anything about it. They transferred, they had to sit out a year or two. If they complained about it, you disrespecting them through the media, made them look like a bad kid, and now they got the freedom to go walk and go explore in any way, fashion, or form. So that's why, and I love it. And people don't understand that the underbelly of that society is really, really, really was crucial to some of us, and it destroyed some of our careers. So, and I appreciate that, man. AAU, good or bad for the process? How would you stabilize that?
Good.
You like AAU for it?
I mean, it's an opportunity to play in front of college coaches. So for that reason, I'm not saying that there are a lot of good programs. The ones that aren't good make the good programs look bad. So those are the kids that most likely should not be recruited. But it's a platform that gets kids to receive a higher education. At the end of the day, if this is what this is about, college coaches they're going to find talent. Some things may need to be cleaned up. A lot of that is just the development. So that's why you see a lot of the European and African athletes that are coming over here, develop footwork, work, all that, that are kind of taking over certain parts of basketball, but the opportunity, and they're coming over for opportunity that we already have. Right. So it is, some of that needs to be cleaned up, but I don't, listen, I've been a travel team coach for 17 years, and I've been able to get a lot of kids to college just by putting them in front of college coaches. As long as that platform remains the same, and these kids, especially kids that look like me and you, can receive a scholarship and save their parents to $100,000, it's still working.
Athletics Connection Foundation, man. Talk to us about how that was created, what it's about, and where you want to take this foundation going forward?
Yeah, it's just everything that I have talked about just in
Mhm.
my transition and adversity alone caused me just to want to do something about it. Just because I was gonna hurt somebody, hurt
Mhm.
myself,
Yeah.
somebody was gonna hurt me. One of the
Yeah.
two was gonna happen. So it allowed me to focus on giving back in a way where I could use sports to help teach life skills. So we and build sports programs and travel teams and summer.
Mhm.
So it has evolved from utilizing sports to teach life skills to now offering scholarship awards to high school seniors waiting. Most kids have to give their laptops back to their public schools. Uh, so we're able to provide laptops and buy laptops as they go off to college. By seed money, it's evolved into holiday toy drives to where families that are struggling on the holidays were able to. Man, we just had a holiday toy drive where we raised over 5,000 toys and served over 3,000 families. So it's through sports, it's evolved through my foundation, man. So it allowed me to, host a celebrity golf fundraiser. I ain't know
Wow.
nothing about it. We ain't playing no golf, but I know what golf does, networking, and I know how impactful it is.
Mhm.
So that foundation, it's allowed me to be surrounded by some board members, by 20 board members that are professionals in their own area. So I just built my own team, just like I was at the park. I need this
Mm.
role, I need this role, I need this role, and kind of guide the ship, man. So just very thankful. 17 years later, going through all kinds of everything that a nonprofit could go through, we've been
Yeah.
able to be able to survive on the other side, to give back and serve. I'm just very thankful for that.
If you could teleport back to a crucial time in your life and give yourself some life altering advice, what time would you go back to? And what advice would you give your younger self?
My first instinct is this is the path and the journey that God chose
Mhm.
for me. And to alter it means I didn't trust his process. I already tried to do it my way, excuse my language, but the shit didn't work out. And I tried it many times. So if anything, just continue to listen to my heart, bet on myself, believe in the things that make sense and the things that don't make sense. Don't spend no time, don't waste no energy, right? But I think everything happened for a reason. God has closed many doors that I tried to break open myself, and I'm glad he kept them shut. Yeah, I, I see the outcome after he shut the door. That's when I thank him. So I started thanking him why he shut the door to say, all right, I trust you enough, right? So
Mhm.
that just comes with time and maturity. But I can't, as much as I would want to change something, I would be disrespecting, man, the man above for allowing me to breathe for 52.
And finally, man, how do you want to be remembered?
Being the best father that I could be, and the best brother that I could be, and the best son that I can be. I really don't. The legacy it ain't gonna live for that long. No. So I want to continue to be the best father. I want to continue to be the best son for my friends, and I'm best friends too. Best friends, but that's all. I'm simple, man.
Mhm.
I don't put a lot of weight on nothing because we ain't gonna be here for that long.
Right, for sure.
Allow me to hand my seed down to the next generation, and as long as they follow that blueprint, they'll be all right.
Larry Butler.
Yeah,
What's your relationship with LB?
it stemmed from my dad. So LB, Larry, coach, he went to SIU.
Oh, okay. I ain't
A
know
lot of
that.
cats
Yeah.
at
You
SIU, man.
said that earlier.
So him and my dad knew each other. That's them
Mm.
to, and this was like when I was just a little kid. Then everybody know, Larry. He got his team. So
Hmm. Yep.
I was playing in the summer league and played on his team. He invited me to play on his team at Kennedy King, which wasn't too far from my grandma's. Played
Hmm.
for the team on summer. It just kind of evolved, man. Just played a couple games, as a lot of cats do when they come into Chicago. Left, went back to Florida, put that on my resume. Went to the Final Four. Yeah, and then from there, life just circled back around. I respect him to the highest. You know, I know some other cats that, you know, they the next Larry Butlers of the world, but
Yeah.
that's who I know. So I go
Mhm.
to him to get my top teams down to my showcases and
Abs-
pick on, lean on him some. But that relationship has just continued to grow just organically over the years.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Awesome.
respect to Larry.
Shout out Larry Butler, man, and let's see if we can get Peoria team down to your tournament next year, man.
Yes.
At least one of our teams down in your tournament next year, man. So let's make that
So
happen.
I would love for that to happen, man. Would appreciate your support.
Once again, Shooters Corner Podcast with Dan Cross. Follow us on Twitter at the Shooters Corner Podcast, Instagram. We're on Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, and video version on YouTube. Thank you, man, for sharing your knowledge, for being the legend that you are, being an inspiration. Please continue to do so. And you need anything this way, please check back in, man. And I'll be in touch with you as we get the rollout for this particular podcast. It's going to be awesome, man. I'm really excited about it. So enjoy your evening, man, and let's stay in touch, bro.
Thank you, brother. Blessings to you as well, man. Congratulations.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
If my memory served me correctly, I was getting ready to leave Florida.